This is Burn the Ship. Thank you for coming, my friend. I appreciate it a lot. It does matter. Anybody that makes the trip up here, sets the time aside to come chat with us, it means a lot. So thank you for that,
Yeah,
very first of all.
absolutely.
This is Burn the Ship. Our goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We've been very fortunate to talk to a bunch of people that have walked the walk and talked the talk and been through just tons of different experiences in the small business world and have been very willing to share those experiences with us. So that's kind of where we are, is taking connections that we've created, creating conversations out of them, teaching that next generation of entrepreneurs through skills and experiences that we've accumulated. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce your business? Tell us a little bit of a story.
My name is Ben Croy. I'm from Joplin, Missouri, so a small town in southwest Missouri. But I recently started a private equity fund, and that private equity fund owns a couple of different businesses. And they're mostly focused within the heavy industry, equipment rental, trucking, that sort of thing. But yeah, so we own a couple of different brands. We're looking to expand internationally here in the next year or so. We've got a couple of cacao plantations down in Ecuador that we're trying to bring together and more of a co-op kind of thing, and to start exporting cacao successfully to the United States and also more or less build up that area of the world. 'Cause it's the area these plantations are very poor
Sure.
infrastructure, and a lot of poverty, a lot of social issues down
Sure.
there. We're trying to help
So where
build up.
does this story start for you? It won't hear it after the fact
Okay.
if you hear the lawnmower, but where does this story start for you? Like where does the private equity fund become born and what is your background in?
Human trafficking interdiction.
Mhm.
So for about the past 6 years, I've worked in all sorts of different levels in that industry, from the aftercare internationally to law enforcement. I've seen all sorts of shapes and sizes, about everything you can imagine in that field. And so after I got a master's degree from the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey in money laundering, actually, I decided to make a bit of a career shift into private equity. We started this firm to not only a couple of my good friends and people that I've known throughout my life. We decided to all come together to create a fund to not only build shareholder equity, but also to give a percentage back of everything that we make to help fight human trafficking. And that comes in a lot of different ways where those investments go and those donations go. Right now, we're supporting a nonprofit, an aftercare nonprofit in South Carolina called the Formation Project. They're small aftercare nonprofit, but they're very effective in what they do, and it is survivor led. So it's a big game changer in the aftercare kind of offerings in the southeast. We also support IJM, which is the world's largest anti-trafficking nonprofit that I actually used to work for
Oh
in South
really?
Asia. So it's they do really great work. We're trying to become more involved in the things that they do.
Sure. So you just kind of felt this responsibility to be more involved from that front, and it was the way to make the money and give yourself the resources. That was kind of the why
Mhm.
behind your other companies.
Yeah.
I think that's an important thing to highlight because why you do what you do describes how you do what you do more accurately, I think, than anything else. Um, but so you made this career shift kind of in at the same time where you're building this private equity firm, right?
Hmm.
And then your first investment is this trucking company.
Yep.
What is the process of starting a trucking company like?
So I actually bought the trucking company, so I don't
Oh, so it
know.
was already existing.
Yeah, it was already
How big
existing.
was it when you bought it?
It was pretty small. They only had one unit, and they had about a year in operation, and they weren't doing that great. So we decided to. It was a great opportunity for us to step in, throw some money into it, and see if we could, elevate it up. And
How long ago did you say that was?
that was 2022,
So
so about a year and a half
year and a half.
ish.
Where are you at now?
We're at 3 units. We're doing pretty well. We're expanding. I mean, the trucking industry right now is kind of, to be
Haywire.
frank, it's crap. Uh,
Yeah.
dry van prices, which is what we haul, last year were about 238 cents per, or 238 per mile. Right now they're about $1.98.
Wow.
So it's been a big shift. In the past year, I think I saw somewhere is 160,000 trucking companies closed, and that includes like Yellow, which is one of the largest and
Wow.
oldest trucking companies in
Why
the
is that the
country.
case?
It's a lot of different factors. Consumerism is down a little bit, so there's less need. Also, ocean shipping has slowed quite a bit, so that drives a
Hmm.
it kind of dominoes. From what I've been told. I can't claim to be an expert on why the logistics industry is the way that it is, but
Sure.
that's what we've seen in our limited
Was your
observation.
day to day involved mostly with the trucking company or no?
No, so I own another company, and it's a consulting company, and we contract out with banks and fintechs and payment processors, merchant services, all that kind of stuff.
Probably super ISOs, things like that. Like
Yeah,
what size company would be an example of a merchant services company you would work with?
generally they have to be fairly large to be able to afford or the services that we provide, because most of our clients are FIs, and we've seen everything from 80 billion in assets to down to 6 billion, I think, is the most recent credit union that we've been working with.
Sure.
So we kind of run the gambit with that, but a lot of the brands that I've worked for,
Yeah.
pretty well. But we're priced more aggressively than let's say like PwC or Deloitte or the big three consulting, because we're so niche, in terms of we do strict fraud consulting.
Sure.
We don't do management. We don't do all that other stuff, and it's worked out pretty well. The organization that I'm working with, I own a consulting company that works with other consulting companies. But the larger organization that I work with, they've done pretty well, and I'm kind of following their model. Whenever I started my private equity firm, and the company that I work with, it's called Mission Omega, and Mission Omega, they originally started as a nonprofit called the Noble, and the people from the Noble started a for-profit called Mission Omega to support the nonprofit, which the nonprofit focuses on bridging the gap between law enforcement and the financial services industry to help successfully identify and interdict trafficking, elder abuse, all sorts of human crimes. So all the people from the Noble and Mission Omega are all kind of the same.
Sure. What are they doing there for profit? How are they generating revenue to support the
Fraud
nonprofit?
consulting.
Oh, is it?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Um, that's very interesting.
Hmm.
So you said that your plan is to stay around the heavy equipment type of
Hmm.
industries. What other opportunities do you see in that space that are enticing to you?
Well, right now we're focusing on more of a vertical integration thing, creating an entire supply chain, all
Sure.
the aspects of it. So we have the trucking right now. As I said earlier, we're trying to get cacao from Ecuador. We have a import export company that we're doing that with. We're doing focusing on cacao in Ecuador and also auto parts in the Caribbean,
Sure.
because they're both lucrative, and I've got connections in in both places. But we're trying to bridge that gap. We have the import export part, and then we have the trucking company. Next, I'm looking into warehousing, because there's always a need for that, and that allows for greater opportunities within
Yeah.
the trucking industry.
Create some logistical advantage
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
stored dry space.
Yeah.
Man, that's really exciting. That's really cool. I mean, as far as creating this whole ecosystem that you've built is it's a difficult thing to do because you have to kind of be ankle deep in a lot of different things, but still
Hmm.
very deep in whatever your core service is to that. How many partners did you say that you have that you work with in this private equity fund?
We have 5 right now.
5? Oh, that's actually not so bad. So
Yeah. Again,
you don't have
we're
a
tiny.
you don't have a 50-person board of
No.
directors talking about every single dollar that moves around though. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
So you might actually still get some work done.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really, really cool to begin with the end in mind. And in my mind, it's like I'm kind of building this whole picture of what it is. It's like a circle
Mhm.
almost, it's like these things continue to feed these other things, but it all ends up back with I want to support this main thing, this main social issue that is very, very important to me.
Mhm.
Which is super rare. I really don't have a whole lot to say about it. I wish I did, but I'm kind of just here on the roller coaster with you. You know what I mean? Like your day to day is just solving issues and pinpointing issues for large organizations. obviously there's some growth to kind of be in that same conversation, but I think you learn from the behavior that you put yourself around. Like
Mhm.
when you learn the way money works at that scale and you learn the way business is earned at that level, you have a lot of applicable knowledge to be able to apply to your own existing business. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. I've learned so much in the past, 2 years I've been doing the fraud consulting. So much. A lot of how things work in larger organizations, the big things to avoid. All sorts of different types of fraud. How to structure things to support other things. I don't know. It's. I mean, I know that's very descriptive, but I've learned quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you think about it, I mean, I feel like some of the hardest things for me to learn are the things that you learn at a high level. You know what I mean? Like the way my mind works, I've always been very good at diving very deep into something.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If like I just want to learn something more intricately about the same thing, deeper, 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 that's always been easy for me.
Mhm.
But like learning all these different things and how things work together within these systems that you know to be true based on other industries, get out of here. That's not my area of expertise when it comes to learning. That's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not doing it alone. I've got some really great people around me that have been supporting this business and me, throughout all of this. I can't
And oh, go ahead.
so I can't do what I do. I have an operations manager who lives in Kansas actually, but she's a good friend of mine. She's been helping me build everything. I have a day job with the fraud consulting, but she's the one that kind of puts everything else together, makes things work. I have the grand strategy, and she has the operations, the day
Sure.
to day kind of
Well,
thing.
what do you think's been most difficult kind of throughout this journey, like obstacles wise? What has been the big, the biggest holdups for you? I mean, I can only imagine that moving things at the scale that you move things take time.
Mhm.
Like within my organization, I'm trying to think of kind of the best comparison. But like I can go get feedback on something immediately.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like the way that we're structured, like I can walk across my office and get feedback from the owner of my company within an instant. But like when you're making these big changes or setting up things for success in a way where they kind of lock together like the pieces of a puzzle, I know that those things take time, which would be very difficult for me to wait, to be patient on. This process takes 10 days, this process takes 3 days. Like that I suck with those types of, hurry up and wait type of things. But what would you say for you as far as like obstacles? What's been most difficult to overcome as far as, the whole ecosystem of things that you have going on?
Well, the biggest thing really is staying in compliance with everything, because it's a lot of different laws that are regulating a lot of different things that we're involved in all of this. Like the import export side, there's a ton of hoops that we have to jump through to get that going and to keep it going. There's all these check boxes that people don't tell you about. They have to do, like, there's customs duties and all this other stuff. And then in trucking, it's one of the most heavily regulated industries out there. Just trying to stay on top of all of that is crazy. And the rental, or sorry, the equipment leasing company too. I mean, there's different things within that have they've been more slaps in the face. You
Sure.
get everything ready, you think you're gonna have a great week, and then you get a $10,000 thing that you got to go address.
Yeah.
And that's not always compliance. I thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't been slapped with any fines yet, but we're staying on top of it. But it's a lot.
Everybody gets one eventually,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah.
I don't even know if that's really true,
Oh
but
yeah.
it sounds like it. It sounds like that would be the case.
Yeah, but we're trying to keep everything in line. That's the hard part. And again, I have great people around me that have been supporting me through all of that. That have made all of this possible.
For sure. No, yeah. The You kind of get to play in such a cool area, I think, right? In between two things. You get to be building all of this resource center of information in your head that you get to be to pass on to mentor to someone else in the future. Like you
Mm.
get to be that mentor. You're learning the things that you'll need to be an effective mentor. But you also have the people around you that are showing you like the tried and true steps of if this is what you want to accomplish, this is the things that you need to do. So you still have a very close relationship. That mentor's you're very fortunate for
Mhm.
those things. You know what I mean? Like, especially to be so well versed in so many different things. That's a hard thing to find in a mentor. You know, usually people in mentors very, very specific about small things. Not the easiest to find in the world to, someone that can play in these different avenues and help you make those connections.
Well, it's I wouldn't claim to be the the end all be all of mentoring, but
It'll be in the future though. I mean,
I'm learning quite a bit, and hopefully someday I can pass it along and
for
be
sure.
useful to somebody else.
Well, listen, if there's anything that we can do for you, because I know where your heart's at and what you want to support and the social impact that you want to make, if there's anything that my platform or my company can do to make that a little bit easier,
Mhm.
I would love to play a part in that as well.
Okay.
Um, I appreciate you coming to burn the ship. The way that we always kind of end things here is tell people how to find you and get a hold of you, and then I'll ask you one more question, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us where to find
So,
you.
if you guys, I don't actually have a website,
Fair
but
enough.
I
You
do
don't need
have
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and honestly, I do have an email. My email is ben.croy, so ben.croy at multivisionlogistics.com. If you guys have anything that you need to know about logistics, or want to work together on anything, please feel free to reach out. I also have a company phone number, which is 843-576-9070. Um, yeah, just give us a call, text, email, whatever you want to do.
Sure.
See what we can do.
Well, it's like I said, it's so interesting to me really just where your heart's at and what you're looking to support. You know what I mean? Like where the light that you're looking to shine on these different things that we experience socially and overcoming those things in a really unique way. So, like I said, if there's anything that we can do to support you over time, please let us know. But for the audience, what does it feel like to burn the ship? You know, what does it feel like to go all in on your business and commit to that idea that, oh, I'm going to have to overcome challenge after challenge and learn thing after thing in order to do this really effectively and grow the way that I want to grow? Having this background in something that is so difficult, like, risk consulting or fraud consulting, that's a skill that you could use to make money for the rest of your life. And you've chosen to, divide your attention and resources into other things so that you can grow the way that you want to exponentially. That's what most of our listeners are looking to do as well,
Mm.
in some way, shape, or form or fashion, everybody to a different scale. But what does it feel like to go all in on your business? What does it feel like to burn the ship and commit to, I'm going to go through what I need to go through in order to, walk where I want to walk or go where I want to go or make the impact that I want to impact socially?
Well, I'll tell you, it's scary. I mean, I'm sure everybody's can relate to that. It's very scary to take on so much risk, but at the end of the day, risk can be worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't get anywhere without. I mean, that's the cliche. You can't make
Yeah.
a cake without breaking a few eggs,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it's scary, but it's worth it, to be doing the things that you want to do, making the impact that you want to make. You have to embrace the scary. You have to embrace the tough times that are going to come.
Yeah.
But to get through them, you have to practice resilience. And entrepreneurship, I think, is a big practice in building resilience.
Yeah.
Because
No
you're going to
doubt.
fail. It's going to happen, but you got to learn.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to have that thick skin, man,
Mhm.
and you got to earn it.
Yeah.
You don't get calluses for free.
Right.
That's why my hands are so smooth. No, yeah, I appreciate you coming. Like I said, I'm just on the ride for you. You're where you're at with your companies is exciting. You're at that early growth phase where you kind of understand the benchmarks that you need to hit to get to where you want to, but it all comes down to the why.
Mhm.
The wanting to make the difference socially the way that you want to inspires me to want to jump on the train and help you as well. So if there's is there ways that the audience can support you or information that they can receive or resources that you would point them to learn more about the trafficking side of things in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't do any direct intervention. We mostly just donate. But if anybody's looking for, more information on human trafficking and ways to, support organizations that are doing something and doing something in a really big way, I'd recommend going to ijm.org. I think it's .org. But it's the International Justice Mission, and they're fantastic. I worked for them. I know how they operate, and they are just. I cannot speak highly enough of them. They're doing the hard work. They're really they have a lot of resources out there for people that want to get involved, want to learn more. The day to day, you can do something to help fight human trafficking, whether it's the products that you buy at the store, or just donating money. It's a big deal, or talking to your friends about it. Awareness is everything. In the fight against trafficking. But yeah, I'd encourage you to look at igm.org. And if you want to get involved in your local community, there's all sorts of aftercare nonprofits that are always looking for volunteers or resources. And I know there's a big scene here in Atlanta as well, a big movement towards ending human trafficking. But yeah, so just go out there and look.
Well, I appreciate you coming, my friend.
Mhm.
It does mean a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Burn the ship.